Hello everyone. Today I'm going to do something different. I will connect my Laravel application to Web3. To be more specific, I will use IPFS network for my file storage purpose. So what is Web3? What is IPFS? IPFS, InterPlanetary File System, is a peer-to-peer hypermedia protocol that powers the distributed web. You might not be very familiar with these terms. Feel free to check them out after this video. To upload files to IPFS network, I will use Nft Storage. So this is a free storage for NFT, but I'm not going to mint any NFT today. Instead, I will just use the API for uploading the files to IPFS network. Nft Storage is a long-term storage service, so designed for off-chain NFT data storage. So in this case, we are using for file storage to IPFS. I have already logged into this Nft storage backend. What you need to do is just sign up and log in. Then go to API keys. You should see your keys here. If none, you can create a new one. So I have already created one, so I copy it and paste it to my Laravel application configuration in .env. I create a new key, Nft storage key, with the API key I got from nft.storage. So you can do the same. This is also a project I created just before this video. It's called Laravel-Web3. It's a very default Laravel application. So in the dashboard, this is a very default dashboard. I replace the text with a form. There's nothing but a single input. So user can select a file and get it submitted. Okay. Now let's look into what I have done. So in the API configuration, I add a new route. It's a post request, post route endpoint /files. It's served by files controller class upload function. So if you see here, controller has nothing but a upload function. It will redirect request back to dashboard route. So actually it does nothing. And in the dashboard blade template, I replace the text with a form. I point the action to endpoint API /files with method post. And remember, we need to set the ink type to multi-part, otherwise the file won't be correctly fetched by the request and handled by the controller. So this is the easiest way we can operate on the files. Now let's look into the controller. Firstly, we need a file name, file content for the Nft Storage API call. So before we look into the API documentation, let's actually make sure the file is correctly uploaded to the Laravel API layer. So in order to get the uploaded file, we can use a dynamic property uploaded file. This is the input name. So we can look into the template. So this is the file input, the name uploaded file. This is what we are going to use as dynamic property. If you are not familiar with Laravel request, feel free to check out my previous video talking about Laravel HTTP request. So now we have the file. We can get the original can get the original name. Client original name. And content, uploaded file, get content. Okay, and let's log it. Debug, file name. Okay, let's see if it works. Select a file, submit, see the log. So this is file name, all good. Now we need to submit or upload this file to IPFS network by making an Nft Storage API call. We need to look into the Nft Storage API documentation. So this is documentation. If we scroll down to the very bottom, we should see the HTTP API section. So we can configure whatever HTTP client we prefer. Just remember to set the authorization header. So authorization header has a value of bearer space your API key. So this is the pattern we need to use. The other thing is when we submit a file, the request should contain a file property. So I'll show you how to reflect these specifications in the implementation. Now let's make the HTTP request to nft.storage. Oh, remember, so this is a domain. Then we put it here, domain. That's not enough. Let's look into the for API documentation. Specifically, for a file upload, we need to use /upload endpoint. This is what we are going to use. It's a post request. Okay, now let's start. HTTP, this is the facade we are going to use for the HTTP request. Headers, we need a authorization header. Remember the pattern, bearer. And the API key, remember we have it in the environment variable. It's configured in .env, so copy the key name, paste it here. So authorization. Next, we attach the file to the request name. So this is a property we just mentioned in the API documentation. Should contain file property. This is a property name file. So we need to set it to file and the file content. The last thing is the file name. So we use the original file name. Okay, now we can post request to the domain. Not enough, remember that we are using the endpoint /upload. Now the response expect to be a JSON blob or an array in PHP. So this is the response. Now we have done the implementation. Okay. Once it's done, we are going to redirect the user back to the dashboard. Now, I'll show you the sample response of this upload operation. So if you see here, this response, what we are looking for is value CID, so this guy. This is the ID we can use to retrieve the file from the IPFS gateway. So this is the value CID. In Laravel, there's a handy way we can use ARR, so it's the very helpful class. We can easily get some content from the array by using some key or path-like parameter. So remember, we use value CID. So this is how we can get the CID out of the response. And next is the gateway, IPFS gateway I'd like to show you. IPFS.io/IPFS. So if you see, I have already some access to some of the files. So this is what we call IPFS gateway. This string, some random characters string, it forms the gateway link to the file or directory you uploaded to the IPFS network. So this is what I previously uploaded. With this CID, you see the file here. When you click, so you can see the file on IPFS network. So this is the pattern of the link. Now, I'll apply it to my code. I say IPFS link. It's pretty long. I'll replace this part, the CID, with the parameter CID. The last part is the file name. So this is why we set the file name in the request here. So I set a name here. We have the link. It won't be used, but just login purpose. IPFS link. And I'll log it here, IPFS link. Now let's go back to the dashboard. Select a file, submit. API call will be made to Nft Storage again. Sometimes it will time out, so you need to always give a try. Now let's see the log. You can see this is a link, right? And I can copy this link and visit in my browser. This is the file on IPFS network. You won't rely on your own HTTP server, your Laravel application. This is a permanent, long-term storage. It also gives you a permanent access to the file. This is the importance and the significance of the IPFS network. Okay. I have already submitted a file. So from the Nft storage backend, if we go to files, you can see how many files I have uploaded. So I have uploaded multiple files. The IPFS network will deduplicate the files so that the same files will only have one unique CID. And in this files section, you will only see the unique CIDs. So if you submit or upload same files to IPFS network multiple times, you will have only one file with a single or unique CID with it. So 3 different files. No matter how many times you submit or upload to IPFS network, you will only see the same amount entries here. Okay. Now let me actually use a different file. Say, because those files have already been uploaded, so you won't see the difference. Now, I'm going to upload a new file. Before that, I want to add the logic to dashboard root. So that the dashboard can list all the files I stored on Nft storage. So it's here. And I don't need this log. I need a domain. I need the HTTP facade. I don't need the ARR class. Okay. Now we need to figure out the request or the API we should use. So according to the API documentation, you can see from Nft Storage, we can use GET request. This one. So this is how I can list all stored files. So in the code, the header still needed. We don't need to attach any file, and replace post with get. The domain is enough. We don't need anything else, and we still need a JSON response. So this is the response. Okay, next we need to look into the sample response here. So what we are looking for is the value property and the CID. So this is CID. Remember, I use the CID here is something like a directory. So in this directory, there might be multiple files. So we also need a file name. Okay, so we need a CID and the name in the files array. So we need to extract this information from the response. So for each response value, right? Value, yes, as item. CID, and then for each item files as file. Now here files or stored files array. So here we are going to form the link, and the name is file name. So we have the CID and name. We build the link, then we can append the link to stored files array. That's it. Okay, now I think we have all the IPFS links of the stored files. Next, we will attach or associate the stored. So we don't actually need to use the with function, simply put the stored files here. Now I think in the dashboard blade template, we should be able to use that array to render. So we will have a pretty simple list here. For each, what's the parameter? Stored files as file. It's a link. And the end for each. In the list, each of the items should have a link, hyperlink, and the anchor will be set to the link. Text will be nothing but the link. I haven't used the template, blade template, for a long time, so let's see if it works. Okay, finger crossed. API call, stored files, and let me see. For each web stored files, it should be correct. And let's see, let's try this option. Okay, yeah, now we can see the 3 files. Okay, let's add one more file. So I just renamed example3 and submit. If everything works, we should be able to see 4 entries here. Yes. And with the example3, let's click. Okay, so this file is served from the IPFS gateway. Again, it's not relying on our own HTTP server. So even we turn off our Laravel dev server, you can still, or I can still access this file with this link. So this is the advantage of the IPFS network. It's pretty straightforward. If needed, we can search the Tailwind CSS framework if we can render the link a bit nicer. But anyway, I don't mean to hold you guys here for any longer. So that's it for today. We are able to connect our Laravel application to IPFS network. We can upload files to IPFS network by Nft Storage API. So in next video, I'll try to wrap the Nft Storage API operation into a service provider so that we don't need to program the operation again and again in multiple places. So it can be used by the controller with simply just some service. So it'll be easier and the code will be much cleaner. I don't add any error processing or handling here for any edge cases. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I'm very happy to introduce you some new tech stacks, new technologies, the Web3 IPFS. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks. See you next time. Bye-bye.